Dostoyevsky lived a complex life plagued by his execution. In the 1800s Russia, the literary field was primarily reserved for the landowning gentry like Tolstoy and Turgenev. Dostoyevsky did not fit that description and did everything he could to avoid being labeled as such. That being said, he did not come from poor conditions. His father was a surgeon and his mother came from a merchant family, and as such, Dostoyevsky in his childhood was rather well off and, along with his brother, afforded a very good education. But with his life planned out for him by his father, something was missing. He studied to become a military engineer, but his passions laid elsewhere. After publishing his first work, Poor Folk, he was instantly touted as a great writer and was hailed as a new Gogol. He started hanging out in intellectual circles where he found himself not really fitting in. In 1847, Dostoyevsky begins to participate in a radical union discussing and scheming implementations of utopian socialism and violent revolution. This is where he gets arrested and is sentenced to death. With last rites offered and minutes of sitting on his knees, waiting to part from this world, the guns are lowered, and he's told his life has been spared. He instead spends 4 years in the Siberian prisoner labor camp and is sentenced to an indefinite term as a soldier in the Russian army. After his return 10 years later, needless to say, his writings drastically changed. Away with the floral pictures of love and hope, and in with the psychological darkness that characterizes Dostoyevsky. He becomes a devout orthodox. He becomes a resolute opponent of the ideals of his former intellectual circles. And his life becomes plagued by epileptic seizures before ultimately ending in 1881.